I was so excited when I realized I could show you what the plaster removal process looks like from inside of a wall. Here you can see where the plaster seeped through the lath, which latched it onto the wall. As I hit the plaster with the sledgehammer, you can see those keys break off of the back of the wall, effectively separating the plaster from the wall itself. Not all of the keys came loose easily, but you'll notice as I work down the wall with the sledgehammer, even some of the keys at the top continue to fall off as I make contact with the plaster further down. In this case, the plaster was separating so well from the wall, I was able to just pull pieces off with my hands. So I brought a bin over to get that done, so that it didn't fall on my head or hurt me as I worked down the rest of the wall. This is also a really good example to show you what plaster removal looks like in real time. You guys usually see it in time lapse, which makes it look like a quick and easy process. And while some walls do go quicker than this one, this is usually the pace that I'm moving now. Now, this was towards the end of a workday, so it's probably slower than I usually move just because of my energy level, but it's a good example of what a typical workday actually looks like. Once I get those larger pieces of plaster pulled off of the wall, there's usually still some stragglers that need to be scraped off. So you'll see here I'm using the long-handled scraper to get the plaster that's still up high. And if you look closely, even in places where the keys came off the back of the wall, there's still plaster in between the lath, and scraping helps to remove most of that. And any that get left behind will just come down when I take off the lath. Towards the bottom of the wall, you can see the plaster did not separate as well as it did at the top. Some of that is because there's trim still around the bottom of the wall, but also sometimes it just doesn't separate, and you really have to use your muscles to scrape it off of the front of the wall, which is exactly what I'm doing here. I know the speed is not as satisfying to watch as my time lapses, but I think having it slowed down does a great job of better illustrating this whole process for you, and hopefully gives you a better understanding of the work and time that goes into this plaster removal process. Once all the plaster is taken down, you can see through the lath to the wall behind it, and all of the keys are just sitting inside of my walls right now. Eventually I will come through with a shop vac and get all of those cleaned out.